Last year, my mom and I, 18 female, found out Dad was having an affair with a new co-worker of his. She was a single mom, and when the affair came to light, she approached Mom and me and said her ex was a deadbeat and Dad was good to her son, and she wanted us to be respectful and accept the changes with grace because a little boy's chance to grow up with a father figure was on the line. Mom and I told her where to go, and Mom warned her she wasn't welcome at our house. Because I was still 17 when my parents separated, custody was a thing, and the judge said I needed to spend every other weekend with my dad until my 18th birthday. Dad wanted more time, but I wanted none, and the judge went in the middle. I hated it, but once I was 18, it was over. My parents' divorce was finalized a few weeks after my birthday, so we were free of Dad forever. When I spent weekends at my dad's house, his affair partner tried to befriend me, and she tried to make me play sister with her kid. I was rude to her and made it clear she was not my friend and that I wouldn't be nice. She tried her whole BS speech again about her son, and I told her I didn't care about him, that he was not my problem and not my responsibility. But I couldn't be an idiot to a kid, so when he was around me, I was nice to him and he got attached. I didn't. Honestly, I hated when he'd seek me out, but he was a kid, so I dealt with that nicely. Dad told me he didn't want his affair to change our relationship, and he said he wanted me to stay his little girl. I made it clear his actions had changed things and our relationship wouldn't be the same ever. I said there wouldn't be one as soon as I could stop seeing him. He fought against what I said and wanted therapy with me, but I refused to go. To me, cheating is disgusting. Had my dad just left Mom when he was unhappy? That's fine. I wouldn't have been mad. Divorces happen. I know cheating does too, but cheating is so disrespectful and disgusting, and to expect me to play family with that woman? Never. So my anger isn't just at this affair partner, it's at him too. It always will be. Anyway, sorry, I just wanted to say that. I got an invite to the kid's birthday party. I'm guessing he's a kindergartner, I'm not totally sure, but I knew I wasn't going, so I ignored it. My dad complained to my grandparents about my not showing up and upsetting the kid. They wanted to know why I didn't show, and they said I should have come and let him see I wasn't abandoning him. I told them he wasn't mine to abandon and I would not stay in his life. They told me he's a kid. I said he's a kid who isn't my problem. They wanted me to feel bad, and I made sure they knew I didn't feel bad and I didn't have to. They disagreed. Then the affair partner showed up while I was walking home from work to talk about my no showing, and she wanted me to know her son missed me. I told her to leave me alone, but she kept talking and she was saying so much crap about her son's feelings. I told her to leave me alone, and she was one of the last people I wanted to hear from, but she still didn't let it go, so I told her the last person I wanted to hear from was a dirty, disgusting home wrecker like her who sleeps with married men. I told her she's repulsive in my eyes, and like I told her months before, she was never going to be my friend. I think my choice of words startled the fight out of her, and I got away from her fast and made it home. My grandparents heard about what I said and texted me about that and the party, saying they didn't like who I was becoming. I replied that I didn't like who their son became either, so maybe I should look at that. They kept texting me all this crazy anger, and I blocked them for a while. But I guess I know I could have kept walking, so am I the idiot for the party and what I said to the affair partner? OP, not the idiot. You don't owe that kid a relationship, and your dad and his affair partner trying to guilt-trip you into playing happy family is messed up. You handle things as respectfully as you could, but when someone keeps pushing, they can't be surprised when you finally snap. Blocking your grandparents was fair too. It sounds like they need to redirect that energy toward their own son. I wonder if Grandpa has a shady history. Maybe that should be the next question OP asks when they unblock Gramps and Gran. Are you trying to rug sweep Dad's cheating and breaking up our family because one of you cheated, and instead of having self-respect, you decided to stay and allow it? Make it your own, but I love how respectfully savage OP is, just dropping truth bombs and standing their ground. I'm so proud of you, OP. Or they've enabled their son's crappy behavior for years. The kid's hurt feelings are entirely the mom's fault. Heck, even the fact that she chose a deadbeat to be his bio dad in the first place is somewhat her fault too. But if she wanted a mom-dad blended family for her son, maybe she should have gone about it a better way. Home wrecking isn't going to get you the home she wants, and I feel like that's common sense, no? I kind of feel like maybe there's more to the story here. This woman obviously has no morals if she's knowingly breaking up a family, so maybe there's a reason why this guy is supposedly a deadbeat. Maybe it's not even his kid. Anyone who purposefully breaks up a home, especially one with kids, is automatically morally suspect. so I take any complaints about her ex with a grain of salt here. Either way, she and OP's dad are trash, and OP is better off without them and the flying monkeys. I feel bad for the kid though, especially since this relationship probably won't work out either. One or the other will probably end up cheating. But that's not OP's problem. However, you and your mother should explore a cease and desist letter with an attorney and what the next steps might be if your father's affair partner doesn't leave you alone. It's doubly egregious that she showed up to accost you while you were walking home alone. My daughter Annie, 20, has a friend Ophelia, 20. Ophelia has a complicated relationship with her parents. I've known her family for 6 years, so I've heard both sides. Her mom has admitted they were not always the best parents. I also know that Ophelia was not an easy child, which both Ophelia and her parents admit her parents, allowed to go on out of guilt due to their mistakes, and Ophelia took advantage of that. She brought home some less than desirable behaviours in Annie at certain points, and I'd have to remind my daughter that she isn't her friend, and that behaviour won't be tolerated in our home. Annie still lives at home with me and her dad while she goes to college. Ophelia left home at 18 and moved to a city about an hour away. However, every Wednesday she takes a train back to our city, has dinner with her parents, and then links up with Annie for a bit before heading back to her apartment. Yesterday, I got a call from Ophelia's mom, panicked. Ophelia didn't get off the train she was supposed to be on, wasn't answering her cell phone, and didn't get off any other trains that followed. I went to Annie's room and asked if she'd heard from Ophelia. She asked why, and I explained the situation. Annie asked me to leave the room, phoned Ophelia, and when she hung up, she told me that she wasn't giving me any information. I told her that her mom was worried sick. Annie said it's none of Ophelia's mom's business where she is and she won't tell me. I told her that Ophelia could be in trouble. Annie said she's not, she's an adult. I told her I was very disappointed in her and left the room. I told Ophelia's mom that I didn't know the whole story, but it seemed like Ophelia was safe, which calmed her down some. Later on, Annie told me that Ophelia said that her mom knew she wasn't coming home this week. I said that Ophelia's mom wouldn't be in such a tizzy if that were true, and pointed out that Ophelia's lied in the past. Annie told me I was ridiculous and put her in a tough spot. I told her when she's a mom, she'll understand. My husband thinks I overstepped and shouldn't have gotten involved. I said I'd be scared if one of our kids just didn't come home one night. Am I the idiot? I think you are the idiot, but only because you shamed your daughter for not giving you more details when pressed. Both your daughter and Ophelia are technically adults. Your daughter was trying to be a good friend and respect Ophelia's privacy, and yes, she deserves privacy even from her parents. Your daughter confirmed Ophelia was alive and not in trouble. You'll have to trust her judgment. Aside from that, I think it's fine you tried to help a friend at least find out if her daughter is okay and comes from the right place. I'd be scared if one of our kids just didn't come home one night. Ophelia doesn't live at home. She just didn't show up for dinner. Perhaps they were fighting, which is what it sounds like based on Annie's response. She didn't not come home and didn't show up for a planned dinner. Very different. Not the idiot. I would be very concerned if my adult child didn't show up for a planned dinner and couldn't be reached by phone. Most parents would be concerned. If my kid decides that he can't meet for dinner, there's a text or call saying that. Ghosting is not something we do. We are adults who communicate. So if he ghosted, I would be very concerned and reach out to friends to ensure he was okay. Except you don't know if Ophelia ghosted or not. Annie confirmed that Ophelia had told her parents that she wasn't coming by that week. The mum could be lying, Ophelia could be lying, Annie could be lying, and even OP could have lied at some point in this post. OP, you did overstep. I like how you, who take the parents' side, think only Ophelia is capable of lying. Her mom could be lying to you. You are the idiot. So here is some context. My dad, 82, recently went full passport bro and married a woman, 27, from the Philippines, Marika. He met her online, flew over to visit, and within 6 months they were married. She has 2 kids from a previous relationship, a male kindergartner and a pre-tween female, and now they all live in my dad's house. I, 41 male, don't have a problem with their marriage per se. My dad's an adult, and if he wants to spend his retirement playing stepdad to 2 little kids, that's his choice. But my wife, 39, and I are child-free, and we've made that very clear. My wife and I have struggled with infertility for years. We tried everything, IVF, specialists, even considered surrogacy, but it never worked out. After a lot of pain and acceptance, we decided to embrace a child-free life. We designed our home to reflect that. Sleek furniture, delicate artwork, and zero baby-proofing. It's our peaceful retreat. We've told my dad that our house is not set up for kids. He always brushes it off, saying things like, "Oh, kids are easy, you just have to relax," or "You'll change your mind when you see how fun it is." I've shut down those comments, but he never really listens. Last weekend, my dad asked me to stop by for lunch. I said sure, assuming it was just him and Marika. Then they show up with both kids in tow. No warning, no, "Hey, is it okay if we bring them?" Just, "Surprise, you're hosting 2 little kids in your non-kid-friendly home." Immediately chaos. The kids were running around, touching everything. Marika let them treat the place like a playground while saying, "They're just curious, they've never been in such a big and beautiful house before." My dad just laughed and said, "See, isn't it nice having kids around?" Then it happened. One of them knocked over a custom sculpture my wife had commissioned. It shattered. My wife burst into tears and I saw red. I told my dad and Marika, "You need to leave, now." Marika got offended, saying I was being overdramatic over just an accident. My dad scolded me, saying I was choosing stuff over family. I snapped, "No, I'm choosing my boundaries. You disrespected them." They stormed out and now my dad isn't speaking to me. Marika has been ranting on Facebook to the family about how cold and unaccepting we are, and some relatives think I should just let it go because kids will be kids. Am I the idiot for standing my ground? Obviously not the idiot. Respectfully, you don't have to care about what Marika thinks. Once your dad dies, none of your family is going to embrace this woman. She's not actually family and neither are her children. Her opinion and her online rants are from a woman with a very thin connection to you. Her opinion is irrelevant. You've set boundaries for a reason, especially in a space you've tailored for peace and healing from your own struggles. It's not about the stuff, it's about respect. If they can't understand that, maybe they need a timeout from visiting until they can. You should have stood your ground on the doorstep though. Nah, OP, send the bill to your father and then tell him you will not see him until he apologizes. Your dad has a lot of nerve to think he's punishing you by not speaking to you. Turn it around on him and tell him you're not talking to him until he apologizes and pays for the sculpture. Anyway, I bet she's working you out of the will. Me, 20 female, and Camilla, 23 female, work at the same place. We've been acquaintances for a long time, but only got closer when I got hired at the start of last year. She's my boss's assistant. Besides working here, in November, I took a part-time job in a restaurant where I work Friday nights, Saturdays, Sundays, and holidays. My boss, 52-ish male, hosts dinners for our whole office at least once a month or when we finish a really big project. Usually I can't make it, so I don't pay much attention to discussions about it. At the start of January, I realized that the dinner for the year's opening would take place at the restaurant I worked at. I talked with Camilla, and she said she didn't realize that it couldn't be changed since the reservations had already been made. That dinner was awkward for me since my co-workers kept asking me to sit and eat with them and were giving me weird looks. I think it was pity, to be honest. They left a huge tip, which was both cool and a bit embarrassing. Afterward, everyone started treating me differently, and my supervisor even pulled me aside to ask if everything was all right. LOL, they had good intentions, but it was genuinely annoying for me, especially since I don't talk much about my personal life at work. The February dinner was set for the restaurant I worked at again. I asked Camilla about it, and she just said that the boss really liked the place and that there was nothing she could do. I decided to trade with one of the other workers in the restaurant who works in the back. He was previously a waiter, to try to avoid the awkwardness. I was not even 1 hour into my shift when the owner came in and informed me that I had to trade again because table 4, the one with the co-workers, asked for me. When I switched, Camilla joked about me hiding from them and everything was awkward again. After that, I texted Camilla asking if she would please stop scheduling the dinners here. She said that she couldn't and we had an argument. I said that she was a bad friend and she said that I should quit one of the jobs if I was so embarrassed by people from one workplace meeting me at the other. She also called me poor, but she apologized for that, LOL. Am I the idiot here? I'm obviously young, so I don't know if I'm being immature. Camilla is upset at me. Edit, she's the one who books the restaurants and has been the one to pick the places every time. In fact, most of the places they go to are just her list of favourite restaurants, LOL. But of course, I can't know for sure if my boss just found out he really likes this one restaurant. Aside from the 2 jobs, I sometimes pick up some gigs and also I'm taking an online degree in accounting, so I really don't have a lot of free time, LOL. Not the idiot. She's doing this on purpose and she's not your friend. You shouldn't be put in a position to wait on your co-workers at a company event. You should be attending yourself. There's nothing wrong with working at a restaurant, and she seems determined to make you feel like there is. Not to mention, you're 20. Of course, you will be supplementing your income however you can. This is about her insecurities, and she's putting you in a server role for these events on purpose. You should bypass her and go directly to your boss. I wouldn't be surprised if your friend told your boss that you appreciated them coming there. Explain that it really isn't fair to you to be put in a position to work an event that you should be attending. You're just as much a member of the team as anyone else at the table. You shouldn't be put in that position. Even if you can't make it, they should go to another restaurant, so it's not rubbed in your face. They're not doing you a favor by having you wait on them and giving a nice tip. She's also making you appear not to be a team player in both of your jobs. You don't want to work those tables, and they're explicitly requesting you. If you protest, then it becomes an issue for the restaurant. It becomes awkward if you don't sit down and join the team. You're in a no-win situation. 100% correct. I spent many years working an office job and waiting tables at night. If my office co-workers were repeatedly coming into my night gig for celebrations that I couldn't attend because of work, I'd be upset too. Once is a coincidence, but twice? You've made your feelings known and your friend disregards them. It's time to take it to both your bosses. I would also point out she called you poor. It doesn't matter if she apologized. Camilla has mean girl vibes.